Hi, fifth grade, it's Miss Dimas again. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than the ones that I've been doing. So we're gonna do a reading together super quick, not everything, just some of it. And then I wanna go over different ways to answer the prompts, okay? So today is going to be lesson 12, okay? And the thing about lesson 12 and lesson 13, it's actually going to be a weird combination of the two. We're going to do, this video is going to cover Thursday and Friday, okay? So because it's the same reading for both days, you're just answering two different questions, we're just going to kind of squish them together into one video, okay? So make sure you are on the same page that I am. So if you look, it is page 74. Okay, and we are going to be reading through it and then just figuring out, okay, what is the key information that we need, all right? So if we look, this story is about the Maasai people of Africa, and this is a nonfiction text. So it is a true story, it is real information, so read it kind of like you would read an article. So as we're going through it, we need to keep a couple of things in mind, right? We need to figure out, who is this story about? What are they what group of people are they talking about? We need to figure out, okay, where is this story taking place? So what is the setting of the story? And then the other thing that we really need to focus on is in either our underlining or our annotating on the side is what is the key details that we need to focus on in this story. So we're gonna read the first 3 paragraphs together. I'm gonna give you some examples of annotations. So just as we read, maybe either on your paper, jot it down, underline, or something like that, okay? So it says, reads the passage below, the Maasai people of Africa. So thinking, I already know that this story is going to be about the Maasai people, and I know that they live in Africa. So right away, I have a setting, and I have, not characters, but I know who this is talking about. So let's take a look at this first paragraph. It says, in the modern era, many tribal peoples struggle to preserve their traditional way of life. These people find it difficult to uphold ancient customs when the world around them is changing. Some tribes are more successful than others. So I know that this story is going to be about tribal people struggling to preserve their traditional way of life. So if I'm a little confused by what maybe the word traditional means, it says that these people find it difficult to uphold ancient customs, so old customs, while things are changing. We live in a world where things change all the time. So these people are kind of struggling to keep what's true to them. Let's go on to the second paragraph. It says, the Maasai of Africa is one such tribe. The Maasai have successfully preserved their ancient traditions for hundreds of years, despite the many modern developments surrounding them. So in spite of this, that's what this word despite means. In spite of things changing around them all the time, they are preserving their ancient traditions. So they are keeping their customs and their way of life in spite of the world changing. So in spite of the technology like computers or cell phones, they're staying true to their custom. Let's move on to paragraph 3. It says the Maasai lived on the borders of Kenya and Tanzania in southeastern Africa. So right there, we already know we have more of a specific setting. So Kenya and Tanzania are in southeastern Africa. So if you want to go look on a map, definitely do that, and just figure out, okay, where exactly are these people living right now? It says they are a nomadic tribe, so they move from place to place as they follow cattle. I know from the context clues that we've been working on that with this word so, it's giving me the definition of the word nomadic. So it tells me that nomadic means that they move from place to place. And the important part of the piece of information here is that they follow cattle. So cattle are just cows. So it says cattle are an essential part of Maasai life. The Maasai use cattle for food, milk, shelter, and clothing. They also sell cattle so that they can buy food and medicine. So if I don't know what this word essential means, okay? We know that it's used for all these parts. So essential, we have a clue that it's a really important part of their life. They use this cattle for everything. They use it for the food, shelter, clothing. They buy and sell medicine, so they use it as kind of like a money system. So cattle is key to their lives, okay? So you need to finish reading through the rest of this article. And there's only 9 paragraphs, okay? So as you're reading, you're gonna keep a couple things in mind. So we have 3 prompts that we need to be answering. So lesson 12, if you look at it, you're supposed to choose one. And then lesson 13, you're supposed to choose another one. So we're expecting 2 essays. So that means that you need to have a plan of some sort. And we're gonna go over that in a minute. But we have these 3 different questions, right? We have an opinion question, we have an informative question, and then we have a narrative. So you need to pick 2 of them. So you'll do one on Thursday and one on Friday. So at the end of this, you need to have 2 pieces of writing, okay? And you can either do that on a piece of paper. They gave you this separate sheet of paper over here. So if you do one on the front and one on the back, if you don't have lined paper at home, just make sure that you have a plan of some sort. So let's take a look at each of these prompts super quick, and then we're gonna go on to really delving into how to attack these prompts. So the opinion and argument prompt says, do you think the Maasai should abandon their traditional ways in favor of a more modern lifestyle? Why or why not? So it's saying, do you think that they should leave their culture and their ways behind and kind of change to fit the modern world? So should they live like we are living? Should they live like people in cities are living, or should they keep what they're doing? And you need to figure out, you need to pick an answer. Do you believe that they should stay the way they are, or they should change? And you need to give your opinion, but also support it with facts from the text. For the informative or explanatory prompt, it says, how are cattle important to the Maasai? So in the text, even in that 3rd paragraph that we read, we know that cattle is an essential part of their lives. So you need to explain and give information about how cattle is important to these people, and you need to use details from the text to support that. The last option that you have for your writing piece is to write a story about a Maasai boy or girl who is about your age. Tell what this character does during the course of the day. Use details from the text and your own ideas. So just you're creating a story. We worked on narratives at the beginning of the year. We worked on narratives with Leonardo's horse, and we've been working on them. So you are telling a story. You are imagining that you are a boy or girl from this tribe, and you need to tell me what you would do throughout the day. So what would your normal day look like if you were these people, all right? So we are going to kind of shift gears, and I want to talk about those 3 types of writing now.
So, like I said, what we're going to be doing is we're going to just be talking about the 3 different types of essays that we have, right? So we have opinion, informative, and narrative. So in your opinion or argument essay, what you need to do first is state your opinion. Okay, so you need to tell me, do you believe that the Maasai people should change the way they live, or should they stay the same? Okay, so should they respect their customs and respect what they've been doing for hundreds of years? Or should they change and adapt to a more modern way of life? And then from there, you need to give me examples of why you believe that. So do you believe that it is more important for them to adapt to a modern way of life, maybe because they'll have better technology? Or do you think it's more important for them to stay the way they are, to kind of respect their culture? Okay, for the informative essay, you need to give it, it's asking you to give reasons why the cattle are so important to the Maasai people. So you need to tell me that they're important. And from there, you need to pull information from the text that explains why these cattle are important. So you would say things such as, in the text it states that the cattle were used as a form of currency. And then you need to explain that. This is important to the Maasai people because do they use money? Like, what do you think? So why are these cattle so important to their way of life? The last one is probably the most creative one that you're going to be working on, if you choose it. And that is the narrative essay, okay? So it's asking you to be creative to put yourself in the place of a boy or girl from the Maasai tribe and think about what they would do throughout the day. So if you're putting yourself in that place, right, you're not going to be on your phone, on YouTube, and on TikTok all day. You're not probably going to be doing a bunch of schoolwork, right? What does it say in the text that these people do all day long? So you need to use the text to help inform what you're writing about. We have a 5-paragraph essay structure that we're used to. And it's going to be a little bit different for the informative and the argument essay than it's going to be for your narrative essay. So if you have your regular 5-paragraph essay that we've been working on in class, right? So we have our first paragraph, and that's our intro paragraph, right? That gives you an introduction to what you're going to be talking about. So if I were doing the opinion piece, the argumentative piece, I would give my reasoning, so I would give my opinion. If I'm doing my other piece, I would say, okay, the cows are important because. Paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 are going to be your body paragraphs, right? And that's going to be where you use your evidence. So you need to take evidence from the text and you need to explain it and explain why it's important to what you're talking about. That 5th paragraph is going to be your conclusion, right? That's how we wrap everything up. So you're going to give me kind of like a summary of what you've been talking about in these first 4 paragraphs. So for the narrative essay, your structure of your paragraphs is going to look a little bit different. Okay? So it's going to look something like this, and you can use this as a baseline. So if you need to pause it at any point to kind of just use this to help you, you definitely can. So the first thing you need to do in that first paragraph is to kind of set the scene. So where is your narrative taking place? So you as a Maasai person would be located somewhere in southeastern Africa. It gives you different locations that you can set your story in. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th paragraphs need to be talking about details about what you're doing throughout the day. So maybe use the 2nd paragraph to talk about one thing you did. Use this paragraph to talk about another thing that you did. And the last paragraph to talk about the final thing that you did. And then for your 5th paragraph, you're just gonna kind of wrap up your day. So how was your day? How do you feel about being in the Maasai culture and living in this lifestyle, maybe compared to how other people live? So you need to kind of explain that in your writing, okay? And you can definitely change this up. This is just kind of a suggested way to help you work through your narrative if you choose to do it, okay? So the 3 writings, you have the opportunity. You only have to do 2 out of the 3. So do 1 on Thursday, 1 on Friday, okay? So keep working, keep writing, and if you have any questions, definitely let us know, okay guys? We miss you so much, and really, really nice job. Bye.